Welcome to the Golf for Beginners podcast. Today we're gonna talk about a super interesting topic. We're gonna talk about quick fixes, what it is and if it's good or bad. And I'm not gonna be the one doing all the talk today because I have a visitor in the studio. I have Richard Lancaster. He's back in the studio. He also visited us in the last 2 episodes. So I hope you're gonna enjoy our little chat together.
Welcome to the Golf for Beginners podcast, your essential guide to mastering golf fundamentals. Whether you're a beginner golfer or a seasoned player looking to refine the basics, join us as we teach you everything about the fundamentals of swing technique, course management, equipment, rules, and how to practice. Today's host is none other than the award-winning PGA golf instructor Nikolaj Setti Engström, CEO of the biggest golf teaching business in Denmark and founder of Golf for Beginners Academy.
Hello Richard, and welcome.
Thank you, Nikolaj. I'm glad to be back.
Super nice that you wanted to come again. We're going to talk about quick fixes. I think before we actually start about the good things and the bad things, let's see if you can wait. Wait would actually say what is good about quick fix. Let's just explain what is a quick fix for you. Yeah.
Well, as the name suggests, it's something that can make immediate changes in the swing, right? As in, we are talking about, manipulating the ball flight or manipulating the golf club in some kind of a way so we can hit the ball better or something like that. Something that have an instant change, right? As in opposed to something that we need to work on over a long time to develop a muscle memory, which is where the previous episode comes in handy. Feel versus real, where we need to over-exaggerate certain movements and stuff like that. So quick fixes are not so much based on the feel, I would say. They are just, doing something that can manipulate something very.
Yeah. So something that works right away.
Yes.
Basically. Yes. Super cool. So, the quick fix, the name quick fix or the word, I don't really know where I stand on that because, a lot of people, they come to me and they say, I need a quick fix. And I'm like, yeah. But then sometimes I'm like, okay, yeah, that actually makes sense because where you are right now. Yeah. So try and explain to us, when would you do a quick fix and when would you do a more long-term solution?
Yeah. I think there's a definite place for both. Right? Again, depending on the situation, definitely. I would say that quick fixes have their place, especially if you are, let's say, just that you're in the middle of the round, right? And you start to see some kind of a pattern that you don't like to see, and you want to know, how to change that, how to manipulate it. I would say that every really good player in the world have maybe a library of very quick fixes to make sure that they can, manage a bad round into something that's, manageable.
So that could, for example, be if you suddenly start slicing the ball massively on hole number 8, 9, and 10. Then you maybe actually have a quick fix where you're like, okay, I know I need to do this straight away, and then I fix it.
Yeah, exactly. Like if we talk about that, for example, so you hit a couple of shots, 3 shots in a row, they're poor left, right? You look on the divot, it's straight, but the ball starts left and continues left, like this pull hook or a pull draw or what it's called. Then it's a club face, right? It's a club face issue. So what can we do quickly to manipulate it, right? Most of the time, just, of course, aim a little bit more right? That's our very quick solution, as long as we, of course, understand the relationship of the bounce, right? Because now we are getting the leading edge a little bit more into the ground. It's probably going to dig a little bit more. So, again, as long as we understand that we are getting some kind of a trade-off somewhere, always, right? And also the second thing, many times, just when we are touching upon it, aiming, in this case, gotta come into the new aiming line. If you aim somewhere else and right before you swing, you again look on the flag, and then you're sending your brain 2 different signals, right? You're aiming one way and you want to actually swing the other way, which usually leads you to actually pull it even more, because then you're going to manipulate a club face to make up for the aiming line, and then on top of that pulling, then you're very much play left, or then you're going to overcompensate somewhere else and you're going to hit the ball worse, right? But that was just one of the examples. So I think it's definitely important if we have some kind of a basic understanding of some of the fixes, so we can work with that. And then, of course, that's in the middle of a round, or sometimes the swing can fall apart from one day to the other because there's some kind of a sequence issue or something like that. Or maybe sometimes just people didn't play for 1 or 2 weeks. They come back and they just grab the club that they never did before, or they do just something strange, right? So it can sometimes be just a very small thing that needs to be changed. Yes, that can be psychological, right? Sometimes that can be a placebo that you actually, give some kind of advice, and it's just a confirmation of something, right? Many times, if people shank the ball, right, couple of times in a row, it can be just because their brain is quite literally looking for that part of the club, right? You move them away from the ball. Doesn't, if they are not standing too close, right, it doesn't mean that it's an actual solution, because after a couple of shots, well, they will make up for that and they will start doing it even more, right? They will start overreaching and they will shank it even more. So then it's just recalibrating, right? Finding a way how we can just think about it a different way. So I believe there is definitely a place for them. I wouldn't see as that they are something negative or something positive, right? I think it's just most important is that a student the student knows what is a quick fix and what does require work. I think that is the baseline to it, that a coach clearly communicates what is what and what we can get there. And many times actually helping with both, like telling them what is the long way and what's the short way. And I'm making them understand that, there's no short way down the line, right? But if you really want to hit the ball a little bit better for now on, because, you want to, because, it just feels like you want to give up on golf and life, then sure, you can do this to hit a couple of shots, but then go back to that work, right? That long term, because that's just the only way. There's no shortcuts in life. It's just we have to walk the pathway, right? There's no way around it.
Okay, that's super interesting to hear, actually. So it can be good, it can be bad, but you need to understand the downsides of it sometimes. But they're really useful, and as you say, it kind of sounds like it's a tool in your toolbox.
Yes.
I'm hitting the ball way to the left. That's not really good. I can't, I know I need to work on all of these things in order to change that, but right now I just want to play a good round, so I aim more to the right, or I change my grip, something, or whatever it is, and then that kind of works right now, and then I go back in the range, and then I work on the more long-term stuff. So how do you figure out, before, like when a lesson starts, how do you figure out what the student is looking for?
Questions.
Okay, questions.
It's all in a conversation, right? So we gotta figure out where we are standing, right? If someone is, of course, going out playing tomorrow, they haven't played for several months, they want to get back into some kind of a basic fundamentals to hit the ball, or many times even just to look like they know what they're doing, right? They play in some pro am, so no. Then that's definitely the place for it. But if, of course, someone comes in and they are looking into series of lessons, or like a winter project or something like that, then of course quick fixes are not really, they don't have a place there, right? So it's all just of course talking, right? Talking with the customers, talking with the students. That's all, again, that's the way you're actually getting a good golf coach. He's got to ask you these questions, right? If he's just immediately looking on a swing, not even videoing or anything like that, or not having a TrackMan, then run away, my friend. Run away from there, because it's probably not just, it's not worth it, right, in this case. So I would say invest in something that actually looks properly professional, because that's where the actual help is, and that's where the coach can communicate you. Again, important. He's going to communicate. He needs to communicate with what is a quick fix, what is not. Yeah.
That makes really good sense. So so if you have a lesson, could you sometimes send people off with both a quick fix focus point and also a long-term focus point? Could you do that sometimes?
Yes, I would say, again, know your customers, right? Know your base there. So some people, I would say, they are not even interested in something like that. I'll ask them. You want quick fix to make this, work in a short run, so you understand how you're manipulating? Because sometimes the quick fix can also be a learning tool, right? You can use it to actually again explain what's happening with a golf club, what's happening with a ball flight. But some people are not interested in that at all, right? Because of course they got a little bit bad rep on the internet, as in someone is like, quick fix, that's we don't want that, right? Again, I said it can be useful, right? And then on the other hand, for some people that could be only quick fixes, right? Just as I said, they didn't play for some time, they come in and they will straightforward say that. They're like, I want that quick fix. There we go, right? But yeah, there will be a good majority of customers where I'll just talk about both and show them both ways to do it. Because especially if you're taking lessons during like a summer, during a season, you also want to be playing in the meantime, right? So maybe I want to make something that works in the meantime, and also something that we can work on in between. Right?
Nice. Okay, so that's really cool. I'm thinking I'm going to challenge you a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't prepared you for this at all.
Ooh, very nice.
So
very nice.
Let's say you have a student,
Mm-hmm.
and he or she slices really badly, and that person is going out playing a very important tournament tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And during your interview, you figure out that they just need to play good golf tomorrow.
Gotcha.
What are you gonna say to them if they slice it?
Okay. Well, first I need to, of course, find out why they're slicing.
Yeah.
What's happening? Is it a path issue? Is it a face issue?
Mm-hmm.
Right. If it's a face issue, I will try to make the grip a little bit stronger.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just gonna, it's automatically gonna close the club face. Of course, if I overdo it,
Mm-hmm.
if I make the grip too strong and it's gonna make them uncomfortable, then I'm gonna play better golf, right? They're gonna start hitting the ball worse, which is always bigger priority. Hit the ball, right? Hit the ball well. If it's going to the right, and if it's actually going to the right consistently, aim left. Again, then of course we could start with that, right? Aim left, but that's not much of a quick fix. That's more of advice. Aim left, right? Play with the shape. And commit to it, as I said, commit to the new target line. So I would definitely, if it's a club face, we try to just close it. Or many times it can help. It looks weird, and again, we have to let them know it's a quick fix. Have a normal grip, but set up with a club face closed, right? That's kind of the line in between, right? You still have your own normal grip. You still feel the same in the setup. Because the balances are all over the place, and if the club face is open and closed, it feels different in your backswing. That's the point of it. But it can somewhat help with it. Again, if it's a path issue, that's a bit of a problem. That requires some kind of a more repairing. But then we can make it work again with the club face, right? If we are outside in and our club face is square, then the ball will start relatively straight, but then it will deflect to the right. So what I can do in that case is maybe help to close the club face a bit, to start it left if we have this bias going to the right. So we are still relatively on the target line. Yes, we are again losing the distance, ball is spinning too much, etc., etc. But that's the fix in the long run, right? And you just make them, know that, like, of course, this will make it work for now, but down the line, we want to get the path a little bit better, right? Again, there's a limit to it. If the path is from certain numbers up, like 8 and more, it's really difficult to hit the ball. It's really difficult to have a good contact anyway, right? So then we could start there, right? If someone's not even hitting the ball in the first place, then of course I need to figure out how to make them hit the ball. And usually it means make the swing as simple as possible, right? Maybe back to basics, like we talked about in some of the previous episodes. Just do the rotation, keep the left arm straight, hit the ball around. Yes, you're not gonna hit it instead of 120. With your 9-iron, you're gonna maybe hit it only 90 meters, but you can play around like that, right? And actually, pretty decent round. You will know you will look like you know what you're doing if you didn't play for long and it's an important match, and you can still play. Right?
Yeah.
So it's all about basically this, just trying to find whatever works, right? And again, there are multiple ways. There's not just one way, but it's all in the communication, making sure that the student understands what you're doing for them, right? That it's not a fix in the long run.
Super nice. Just for the Danish people listening, path, when Richard says path, it's club path, which is, I'm just gonna go to Danish, om du svinger udefra eller indenfra, så det er ligesom svingretningen. Vi snakker om, når Richard han siger path, så er det om du svinger udefra eller indenfra. Og når han siger face, eller face angle, så er det hvad vej slagfladen den peger, om den er åben eller om den er lukket. Det er bare lige, hvis man ikke lige var helt med på de engelske termer her. But we're going to go back to English now, and I'm going to give you another challenge. So this was the player that is slicing.
Yep.
What if you have a player, and this player is just hit, or he or she is just hitting the ground way before the golf ball. So hitting a massive turf with a 7-iron, the ball is not going anywhere. We go out playing in 20 minutes.
Oh.
Important match coming up. We're playing for the lunch, and I don't want to hit the ground too early.
Okay.
What do I do?
Well, then it's just about the low point, right? Where the club bottoms out on the whole swing arc, right? Well, then we have to manipulate that, right? Of course, always I could move the ball position a little bit more back, meet that low point, right? Problem with that, everything becomes a little bit too steep. And again, down the line, even maybe after a couple of holes, everything becomes, there's no margin for error, right? So I would probably, because again, that would be the quickest of the all quick fixes, I would probably try to see if we can get the weight a little bit more forward. Something's happening in the swing that we have a weight on a back foot. It could be in a backswing, it could be in the downswing, it could be in a follow through. Somewhere I will see where is the easiest way to do so, and we'll try to work with that, right? Maybe in a follow through we can get the weight a little bit more forward or something like that. Again, I'll have to see, of course, the swing, but it's all about just manipulating the low point, right? If you're hitting the ground too early, the club is bottoming out before the ball. That's just simple as that. So then we try to manipulate that left and right. With weight shifting, it's probably going to be the easiest way. Right? Again, it's not as simple, right? Everything's a little bit more, the geometry is not just left and right, right? There are 3 axes to the whole golf swing, right? So it's a rotation with a weight shift. But that's the long-term change, right? That's not an easy kind of a change. So I wouldn't definitely tell them, start working on all that rotation part on that lesson, right? And we would quite literally just work on, get the weight forward, right? We need to have the weight forward. Maybe even start with that, in the setup, because of course, it's always easiest to manipulate it in the swing where the club travels the slowest, right? So in the setup, the club is stationary, so probably there, as I mentioned, putting the ball maybe a little bit more back. Maybe, again, if it's maybe way too forward, right? Again, I wouldn't focus on that much, because many times then people find it way too much back in a stance, and then, worse in the long run.
Yeah.
So maybe get a little bit more weight to start with, right? Maybe stand a little bit more, it's like 60-40 on your leading foot or something like that, to make up for some kind of error in the back. So, yeah.
Nice. All right, that was a good one. I would do the same.
You would do the same.
I would do the same. That's pretty nice. Last one, last challenge. So again, I'm going out playing in 10 minutes now. I'm super late for my tee time.
Oh my God. Why are you here?
Yeah, I know. I have less than 10 minutes before my tee time. No, I'm playing for the beers. Yeah. And I don't want to lose again. I hate losing. And I'm topping the ball. So I'm hitting on top of the ball when I hit my high bridge from the ground. Oh. I just keep on topping them, and it's really annoying because they don't get anywhere.
Oh, yeah, of course.
What do? I need a quick fix right now.
Yes. Again, I would look on, of course, the swing and find out where it is happening. Most of the time, it's going to be somewhere relative. Again, it's all just very simple geometry, but it's probably going to be relative to the left arm, or we are going to be lifting somewhere up. Many times, this can be the quickest fix would be shortening everything up, because it's just going to under-exaggerate the errors, right? So then it's going to keep us a little bit more stable, right? That will be, I think, the quickest way to fix it. And then, of course, again, depending on where we are looking at it, many times it could be, again, the low point could be behind the ball. And this time we are not hitting the ground, but then we are hitting up on a ball. And so we don't have a negative headsack angle, which we still need with the hybrids, right? Because they are basically a version of irons, right? So we still need to hit down on them. That could be a problem, but that, again, could be in the long run, right? So in here, it's just about manipulating a low point and finding, where the geometry breaks down, right? So making it a little bit more simple, making that left arm, making sure it's straight. Again, down the line, I'll see why is the arm not straight, right? Many times it's due to rotation. If we are not rotating enough in the impact, we can't keep the arm straight. Then it's very hard to keep the arm straight, because anatomically we are running out of, anatomy, right? But that's not an easy fix. That's the fix in the long run. So there would be just shorten everything up, slow it down, making sure that we stay, in a compact place, and then take it from there.
Nice. There you go, guys. That was the 3 easy quick fixes from Richard. Nice. To fix your slice, fix your where you hit the ball or the ground before the ball, and how to fix if you top the ball. That's really nice, guys. But again, this is a quick fix. It's probably not the long-term solution. No. But Richard, he will give you the long-term solution if you come see him. Super nice. Richard, thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having me. Remember, there are no shortcuts in life, and that's the same to golf. If you do it the proper way, it's going to feel better anyway. It's going to feel so good. I promise you, trust me. It's going to be worth it. It's going to feel good in the long run, but maybe not too good in the beginning. No. All right. Thank you so much, Richard.
Thank you for tuning in to another insightful episode of the Golf for Beginners podcast. We hope you found valuable tips and inspiration to enhance your golf journey. Remember, whether you're a novice or a seasoned player, there's always room for improvement. For more in-depth resources, tutorials, and a supportive community, head over to our website at golfforbeginners.academy. There, you'll find a wealth of information to elevate your game. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with your fellow golf enthusiasts. Until next time, keep practicing, keep learning, and enjoy this lovely game.